Thanks, thanks for joining us. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started, everybody. As we always do, we start our meetings with a moment of silence. There's a lot to contemplate in the world in which we live right now. A lot of folks are suffering from the fires and the virus and all of those things. So just a moment of silence to really think about all those folks that are struggling at this time. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. I call the meeting to order. Mike, will you do roll call, please?
Councilor Paulson.
Here, sorry.
Councilor Thompson.
Here.
Councilor Choli.
Here.
And Mayor Gibson.
Yeah.
That gives us 4. Councilor Platt is excused. He's out of the state. And we are having technical difficulties with Councilor Boehner, and Councilor Fender is running a couple minutes late and should be logging in shortly.
Okay, so we're expecting to join at some point in time.
Yes. Hopefully both of them, but one for sure.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. Okay, we have approval for minutes dating back to April 15th. Need approval of those minutes?
I move for approval of the meeting minutes from April 19th or April 15th.
April 15th, yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor? Show of hands.
Aye.
And ayes.
Can you see my video?
No, we can't.
We can't see you. Okay, got them all, Mike?
Yep. Got
okay.
Them.
All right. We'll move right into open forum. We welcome public comment at this time. The council will be happy to receive your comments pertaining to items on the agenda, including questions, suggestions, complaints, and items for the future. Each person's time will be limited to 3 minutes. So if anyone has something that they want to ask a question, or just maybe raise your hand if you have something that you want to talk about for your 3 minutes.
Yeah, and I have to have him accept me. I'm on the phone.
We got you, Gretchen.
Okay, she's muted now. Do we have anybody that wants to speak? Anyone that has a question that they'd like to present to us? Love to hear from you.
Go ahead.
I'm just curious to see if there's been an update to the agenda, because the package that's online is fairly limited.
Who's speaking?
Smith is.
Smith.
Okay.
I was just wondering what the current agenda is. That's all.
Okay. Ronnie, can you post the current agenda really quick? It's this one right here. The one that has.
Okay, so it's
both the agendas are online currently.
So it is completely up to date. The package is up online.
Make sure that the one you were reading says corrected.
I have, okay, so Ronnie, I have 7.1 resolution with supplemental budget.
Okay, hold on, Mike. Hold on. I don't know what you guys are talking about at this moment.
The agenda, dude.
I realize that.
Ouch.
All right. So we're going to go to, so if you go online to City Council
I see it.
2020, go down to packets,
yep.
All the way down,
yep.
Scroll down, it says.
To the corrected one. I see 2 resolutions, then a financial summary, domestic violence, and RFP response for a housing update.
You got the correct one. You're good to go.
I was wondering whether or not, I was told that there was a possibility that the master plan was going to be on the agenda, and I don't see it.
The master planning was never part of the agenda.
No, that's not something that
okay.
we do. But if you have a question, do you have a question pertaining to it? If you have a question, you need to state your full name and where you live.
Okay, I have two questions pertaining to it. My name is Smith Moskal. I live at 13312 Southwest Shakespeare Street here in King City in the Edgewater development.
Okay.
And basically it's a series of very short questions. From what I understand, the expansion of Fisher Road is included as a consideration in the master plan, but the master plan has not progressed to the point where it has selected a preferred alternative. And that means that
one little piece
it hasn't even...
can you hear me? Yes. It was included in the concept plan. The master planning hasn't been done yet. So in the concept plan, you're absolutely correct. It's included, but the process will be the transportation system plan and the master plan that will define all of this in final with from the community.
So to that end, the way I understand what's been done so far in this process is it is understood that there needs to be additional east-west capacity between 99 and Roy Rogers, but that this master plan process that has just been initiated is really what's going to help define the preferred alternative on how that capacity is provided. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's the transportation system plan.
So let me try to answer this question specifically. So Washington County is doing a urban reserve transportation study to address what the transportation network looks like when the area is fully built out by 2050. And so in that study, they identify the capacities of roads and where the main thoroughfares are going to be located at. Right now, that's Beef Bend. Fisher Road is designed to provide internal circulation for King City. So it's not proposed as like an arterial thoroughfare. It's proposed as a local street to provide local circulation for our residents.
Understood that is the intent of the roadway classification as it's been laid out in the concept plan and the documents that I've seen thus far. But the fact of the matter is, the analysis that I saw performed as part of the concept plan seemed to imply that they were looking at just a background growth rate and not a look at the larger travel demand model when they developed the traffic forecasts for what Fisher Road would carry and what Beef Bend Road would carry. And that in doing so, that would likely dramatically underestimate the amount of volume that would actually be on Fisher Road. Because of the fact of the matter is, if you're coming from downtown to Walton and you want to get up towards where the new high school is, you're not going to come down 99 and then fight your way up past Durham over to Beef Bend before you turn and go west, because the intersection of Durham fails so badly as it is today. A majority of the traffic that comes through the stop sign at Fisher and 131st today is regional cut-through traffic. It's people that are trying to bypass the congestion on 99W. The methodology that they use to forecast traffic volumes in that study does not include or does not account for that diversion. So if you build it, even if you classify it as a 25-mile-an-hour local connector type facility, you are still creating a connection that doesn't exist today that's going to naturally draw a lot more traffic than they estimated in that project. And that's really my fear, that because they did not do a good job of assessing how the network performs, and in particular the intersections on 99W, that they're dramatically underestimating what they would need to do to mitigate for the amount of volume that would want to go down Fisher and connect over to Roy Rogers. Because it does become the fastest path. And whether we sign it that way or not, I mean, people cut through King City right now around the loop around the Royalty Parkway because 99 fails. That's the reason there's so much traffic in and around the old neighborhood. And the reason the stop sign over here is overloaded is strictly because of 99 as well. And it just feels like that is being neglected both at the state level, the county level, and in essence, in the forecasting that was done for the planning documents that have taken place thus far.
Okay, Mike, and I think we need to explain that this is exactly why we're involved in the transportation system plan, because the level of detail that is necessary now to be able to get a final decision on what the capacities are, what the traffic is going to look like, and all of those things, and what Fisher Road might look like in final, and whether or not all of these things have been considered is being reviewed, and really the dive in is in the transportation system plan. So there's a lot more work to be done, Smith, and I respect all of your concerns, but I just need to explain that there's a lot more work that needs to be done, and that's what we're just starting with the transportation system plan.
That's
totally
correct.
Understood.
Yeah, I think.
And I know we have the outreach that you've already provided with the survey.
Sure.
So my last question, I know I'm way past the 3 minutes and all that, is there another stakeholder outreach element similar to a technical advisory committee or a citizens stakeholder advisory committee that would be incorporated into that process? Because I understand that's usually the way it goes, but with such a small confined space such as King City's, oftentimes you don't have the scope or the budget to make sure that the consultant can include and those technical advisory committees and the stakeholder advisory committees, because that's a lot of public outreach that sometimes you just don't have the budget for. So what is left in the scope for that project that would allow for public comment, I guess?
We are at the very beginning of it. And there is room for stakeholder reviews and a stakeholder committee, as well as a technical advisory committee that we are sharing with the City of Tigard on their master planning work as well. So, and it's also part of a number of the people on the TAC are also part of the Washington County Urban Reserve Transportation System Study as well. So those groups are, well, at least the TAC is formed, and they've already met once or twice already to kind of discuss road networks. The SAC, that they believe they were doing stakeholder interview over the last week or so with the TSP, but they have a lot more to go.
Can I get on that somehow?
Possibly. The master planning, TAC and SAC haven't started yet. So
can I get on those?
Yeah, I can pass your name over to the consultants and see what their feeling is on that and where that goes. I know it's like, I don't know how many spots they have on there. I think it's like 12 or so. I will let you know as soon as I talk with them.
All right. Thank you very much. I will be quiet now.
Smith, no, we appreciate this. We appreciate it, and we want you to be involved, and hopefully you will be able to participate in one of those committees. This is exactly what we need. So much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity because, as you can probably tell, this is what I do for a living, and I have a vested interest because I live here.
Well, I do too. So I appreciate it. Do we have anybody else?
Yeah, this is Alma Monaco, 13632 Southwest Fisher Road, King City. This is my first time joining, so appreciate the opportunity to provide feedback and comment. I too would side with Smith, interested in any additional opportunity to stay engaged with this project. As you can tell, I am right on Fisher Road, so I have a very much vested interest in the approved outcome of this major transportation program. My question is regarding the Edgewater HOA conducted a survey of the community in regards to their thoughts with this expansion project. Mm-hmm. It is my understanding that it was supposed to be passed along to all of you, and I want to validate that that has been received and is being acknowledged by the council.
Well,
so
go ahead, Mike.
Handle this, Mayor. So, Elma, the proper channel for this is to go through the transportation system plan or the master planning public outreach and input. So, you should have gotten a news flyer, a public participation flyer in the mail. Did you receive that?
Yes, I completed it online.
All right, and that's the official way to get involved on this, and then there'll be opportunities for you and other residents to get involved at public hearings, at community events, things of that nature throughout the process. So whatever the HOA did on their side, that is their business, and they need to basically, I would encourage you to follow the official process, because that's not an official process.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I just want to validate too the outreach efforts by, in reaching tenants of this area, so they understand. I feel that, with all due respect, that the way the wording was on that flyer was not indicative of the intention behind it. It was more focused on biking and walking and safety, using one of those means as opposed to calling it what it is, and that, the Fisher Road drive-through, to connect over to Roy Rogers.
And I just want to,
and that's where I'm concerned.
I think what you just said is important. We still have to understand that Fisher Road is just one piece of a very large plan and a very large effort for the whole of King City. And, if it sounded like Fisher Road really was kind of downplayed in that, the reality of it is there's a lot of work for the entire King City expansion that needs to be done. So we're not trying to downplay it, but at the same time, people need to understand that's just one piece of a very large effort, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, well, Gary, state your full name and where you live, and you have your 3 minutes.
Gary, you're mute, Gary.
Okay, Gary Woods, 13538 Southwest Fisher. I didn't think that you gave Elma the answer that she was asking for. She was asking specifically if the King City Council has received a letter from the president of the HOA, Edgewater HOA, because at our last meeting, the president of the HOA said publicly that a letter would be sent. And so that was the question, I believe. Elma can correct me.
I can answer that, Gary. No.
Thank you.
No, the city has not received an official letter from the HOAs. My understanding that Steve is no longer the HOA president, and there is somebody else doing it. So I have the only time that I heard about it, Gary, was from you.
Mm-hmm. And Gary, I have not received anything. Mike, have you received anything? So the answer to the question is that we have not received any correspondence from the HOA.
Okay, that's the answer that I was looking for, just because when the HOA board says that they're going to do something and then they don't, they represent us, and we just wanted to, and the meeting starts in 30 minutes, and I'll bring up in the HOA board meeting that how come they didn't follow through. Mm-hmm. We realize it's non-binding, and it isn't telling you to do something. It's just saying that the majority of the people that voted in this election or ballot that was happening in Edgewater were against extending Fisher Road, and Edgewater happens to be a pretty large part of the population of King City. And so we'll follow along on the process just like you described, and you see more people are involved now. Even tonight's meeting, there'll be more people getting involved, because we want to be involved and not just let 5 or 7 people make the decisions about what the future is going to be. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
And I agree with you 100%. And next week, I also have a Zoom call and inviting all HOA presidents to that meeting. This will be the second one that we've had. And we didn't have HOA representation from Edgewater in the last one. And I'm hoping that they're willing to participate this time. You know, it is part of our effort to try to get all of the HOA presidents on the same page with what we're doing, so that we have a better line of communication on all of these issues. So we'll keep trying, but we do have another meeting on the 27th, I believe. Okay. All right, thank you. Anybody else? Much appreciated, you guys. I really appreciate you guys joining us. I love to see these faces participating with us. Thank you very much, all of you. Okay, so we'll close the public forum at this point and move on to 7.1. That's the resolution 2020-20 for the supplemental budget. Mike, you want to talk to that?
Okay, so we were discussing the supplemental budget. You'll notice that our, if you turn to the resolution 2020-20, it's a resolution adjusting the budget as is. It has a few amendments to it. Our revenues, our starting line, we had about $250,000 that carried over from last fiscal year that we added to our starting fund balance. So instead of it being the one, well, actually it's what, 150. So we had 1.7 million as our starting fund balance. We're upping it to 1.85 million, which is a little less than what it should be, a little less than what carried over, just because we like to budget revenues conservatively. You'll notice that there were a few things that were higher than anticipated. Our taxes were up. Revenue from taxes were up. Revenue from our water franchise fees were up, and other franchise fees like PGE and others were up as well.
Mike, excuse me, just 1 minute. Can you guys share your screen on this?
Ronnie, can you share us? 2 minutes?
Yeah, please do. I think that would be very helpful.
All right. I have paper, so, and I'm working from home, so.
Yes, no, I understand. Hi, Gretchen. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I've been here for a while. We were having technical problems.
Okay, well, I just got an opportunity to say hi to you. I knew you were here. And Jamie, where's Jamie? I saw her somewhere.
She was here.
Yeah, I saw her face.
She was here. Did she fall off again?
I don't know.
She was having issues hearing, so I think she dropped off to probably come back in.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Just send me a text. I have to log out and back in.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. As soon as Ronnie gets the screen up, I feel more comfortable with being able to see.
All right.
Can you all see that?
Yeah, I can see it. So right now, Ronnie, I'm looking at the general fund summary page is what I was going off of. All right. So that's the Exhibit A. Do you have the summary page? Or you just have Exhibit A? Okay. Okay. So you don't have.
No, this is the resolution, which is only the Exhibit A for the.
That's fine. It just doesn't provide as much detail as all.
Right. This is what I'm only allowed to put on this one.
Right. So you'll notice that as we go through this, we've adjusted our beginning fund balance. We've adjusted our grants. Some of the fees from passports are less than we anticipated, and some are, and court fees are less than anticipated. So we've taken those revenues down, but our increased revenues based on the money that we carried over from last year. So you'll see that kind of broke out below. There is an error that I'll mention under the municipal court salary right here, where it has 52 to 11 to 63, a budget adjustment of 11,000. That actually is if we had the individual at 40 hours a week. And right now we have them at 32 hours a week. So most likely we won't ever need to dip into that. We're just doing it out of precaution. You'll also go down a little bit further. You'll notice that we've advertised for a police officer sergeant position, and we're plugging that into the budget as well. Let's see, contract services for the park. We adjusted up a little bit. That's for Brightview and the maintenance out at the park. Is there any question? A lot of this is adjustments for Cassell, the Cassell software, and permits and things of that nature that we are anticipating expenditures for. And the other thing is for codification of codes and things of that nature through MuniCode. We're way behind, and we're trying to get that stuff all in. Is there any questions, concerns, or anything that I can address?
I will tell you, I was having some problems getting everything to coordinate. It would have been helpful to have some kind of written discussion to help focus this. Because I spent probably an hour and a half going over this stuff last night, trying to get it figured out. So over
the numbers?
Yeah.
So what was your question, Gretchen? What portions?
Well, I eventually figured it out. It took an inordinate amount of time to try to get things cross-referenced. It would have been nice to have had a front page with a brief discussion of what was going on.
We can ask Mayor to do that next time.
Right. Yeah, because yeah, I did the same thing, Gretchen. When I started reviewing this, I went back to Mira and asked for the detail sheets. So I got the detail sheets, and I apologize that wasn't included as part of this resolution. Next time I'll talk with Mira and see if we can give you guys a little bit more detail on that.
But I think it would be a good idea if we can get that to Gretchen, so it'll help clarify the questions that she had. As our treasurer. Okay, Gretchen?
Yeah. For example, it would have been helpful, Michael, you had this reference to a sergeant, and I said, gee, did we promote somebody? It would have been clear if that could have been delineated, that you've got a request out for hiring a sergeant. So that was one of the things that was confusing.
Yeah, well, we lost Ryan Burdett, Officer Burdett, and so we were looking for a replacement that can actually be here at night and be kind of like a squad leader. So in conversations with Ernie and Brian, we felt it was about time to pull the trigger on this one and get it done. It's a little bit earlier than I had originally anticipated doing this. I originally planned on putting it off for at least another year. So we were closer to the growth, getting some of the rooftops in on the other side. But it's time to go ahead and do something like this. So we're trying to get it taken care of.
Okay, that's fine. It just would have been helpful, as I said, to have that explained.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you, Gretchen, and I just want you to know that I support what's being done, and I also think it's important to have the clarity that you're talking about.
Well, it makes it confusing for citizens if they're trying to follow what's going on as well.
Yeah, these things aren't easy to follow anyway, so we'll do better. Okay.
Mayor.
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Sorry, feels like a Monday. I just wanted, can I make one comment? I was trying to speak previously and you guys couldn't hear me and then my computer crashed. So I think we're all good. I just wanted to go back regarding the HOA president's meeting. Could you kindly ask the HOAs to try to schedule the HOA meetings not on the nights of city council? Because I do think that it it makes it so difficult, especially for all of us here who want to attend the HOA meeting. Obviously, we're not going to be able to tonight. So if you could pass that along at the meeting, that was all the input I wanted to put on that point.
Okay, I will
Thank you.
I will bring that up when we have our meeting next week.
All right, thanks. Sorry I was tardy, everyone.
That's all right. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Mike, back to you.
You're on mute, Mike.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, basically, if there's no other questions for the supplemental budget changes, I would request that, Mayor, if we could just entertain a motion to move this forward. We can always come back and address it again at the next quarter.
I move approval of the monthly report, or I should say supplemental budget, excuse me.
Okay. Resolution 2020-20.
Yes, 20-20.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, no, you're second. I seconded a couple times, but we're good.
Mike, who are you using as a second?
I have Councilor Thompson because I couldn't hear Councilor Paulson.
Okay. All right. So we need a vote. All in favor?
I have.
Mike, you want to do roll call?
Yeah, I'm going to have
to. That'd be best to do roll call.
Okay, so Councilor Paulson, I can see you. Okay. Councilor Thompson, Councilor Trolley, I see your vote. Councilor Thompson, I can't see you.
Yes.
Okay. Councilor Fender.
Yes.
Councilor Boehner, I can see you. Okay. That's everyone except you, Mayor Gibson.
And I say yes.
Okay, so we have unanimous. Did I miss anybody?
Okay.
When I'm doing the share screen, I can't see as many people.
Right. Yeah, because it reduces it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. We probably should keep the shared screen going, and so we'll move on to 7.2, Resolution R 2020-21, a resolution supporting the 2021 Oregon Community Path Grant Program.
Okay.
And this is an exciting one, so I'm really anxious to hear about this. And I know I see a big smile on Shauna's face too, because.
Ronnie, can you take this one second?
Sure. So this is you guys giving me permission to apply for this grant, basically. And the letter of interest has to be filed with ODOT by the 30th of this month. So I have very little time to prepare. But what we are planning to do with this grant is spend it over at the park, the King City Community Park, where the trees are uprooting the trails. We plan on doing some tree root barrier to help mitigate that for long term. Yeah, you guys have any questions or concerns?
So what kind of dollar amount are we talking about? I didn't really see.
It's about 50,000.
Will that do it for us? Or would we have to put some?
Mike, do you remember how much the total project cost was that Zach was talking about?
So Zach was estimating about $20,000 to $30,000 to do the stretch of asphalt over by the trees along that trail right there. Mm-hmm. What we're doing though is we're also adding in maybe a couple footbridges, some gravel stuff around that to kind of improve the trail that goes through the woods.
Uh-huh.
Back and around, and add some safety features on that as well. So we added the area from the bridge that comes over from Bedford, I want to say, down and around the corner as a kind of pull out that asphalt there and repave it, and then do a small expansion strip near where we just did the backstop down there. to kind of add a little bit of more space away from the backstop with the trail, and then add 2 footbridges over the 2 drainages from Deer Creek. So hopefully we'll be successful. I don't know. It's a shot in the dark, but hopefully we can get some revenue on this.
So did they reach out to us to let us know that these funds were that this grant program? How did we come about this?
It was part of a public announcement. You know, they announced that they were putting out this grant to all the jurisdictions around the state. Mm-hmm. This seemed to fit in well with what we needed. So
yeah, I think it's perfect.
Nice. Also, we're a small fish, so our project is probably a lot smaller than some of the other larger agencies. So hopefully we can sneak in there.
Okay.
Just as a side note,
go ahead.
Did we put in that little temporary pseudo dock thing that was along the bank, right off that trail?
No.
That's disappointing.
Public comment is closed, so we're going to have to move on. No public comment at this point because of
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
yes.
I move approval of Resolution 2020-21, resolution supporting the 2021 Oregon Community Paths Grant Program.
Second.
It was moved and seconded by Gretchen and Micah.
All right.
Roll call, please.
All right. Councilor Fender.
Yes. I'm excited.
Councilor Boehner.
Yes.
Councilor Paulson.
Yes.
Councilor Thompson.
Yes.
Councilor Ocholi.
Yes.
And Mayor Gibson.
Yes.
All right.
Resoundingly yes. This is exciting. We need this money. We need to get that fixed. We've had a lot of complaints about the unsafe conditions out there, and we knew we could get this done. So yes, let's go for it.
Mayor, can I add something?
Yes.
It's a comment and a question. So you know those that path that Mike was referring to that connects the park to Bedford Street, there's a little bridge that goes over the creek. There's some concrete pillars on either side of the bridge that when you're biking, you have to go through the concrete poles, I guess you would say. One time at dusk, I was going to collect my children from the park, and I saw a guy ride his bike right into one of them because it's dark along there. It seemed like a big safety hazard to me. If you're not familiar with that they're there, if it's dark, are they absolutely necessary to have those there?
The bollards are put there to prevent vehicular traffic from going through. And I don't know if that is a standard or what's going on there, but they were part of the original install.
Yeah, they're difficult to navigate on a bike sometimes. One of my daughters ran into one once. I mean, she wasn't going very fast, so she was okay, but the guy I saw smacked into it pretty hard. They are pretty close together, and I can't see a car making it over that bridge anyway. So I'm just wondering if we can maybe have that looked at when we're getting some bids for the other work and see.
Could we get some reflective stuff to put on them?
Well, if they're not absolutely necessary, if we could have them removed would be optimal, or have it a little bit of a wider span so that it's not quite so difficult to navigate a bike through them.
Is it two metal poles or is it just 2 concrete poles?
Well, I don't know, metal, concrete, I'm not sure what it's made out of, but metal poles. Yeah, 2 metal poles that maybe are only like a 3-foot span between them. It's fairly narrow for navigating.
All right, we can look at them. and I can check with the road departments and see what but I'm thinking they were put there because of liability. I think if you looked at the chat there, Smith kind of sounded off and said that it's kind of a practice and it's preventing liability people actually driving vehicles over it.
Yeah, it looks like he said that we could do maybe one pole instead of two, which would be helpful.
Right, we might be able to modify it or change it. So
that would be great.
We can look at that as maybe a project that we add to our list.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll take a look. Thank you, Sean, for bringing that up. Okay, any further discussion on that? And it's been moved and approved for Ronnie and gang to pursue the grant for R 2020-21. Okay, let's move on to 7.3, June 2020 financial summary.
All right. So it's interesting that the numbers that come out on this are also affiliated with that supplemental budget document that we were talking about earlier and some of the changes that we saw come out of last fiscal year. Mm-hmm. As you'll see on this one here, the adopted budget is now 1.85 last year. You'll notice that our expenditures were considerably less. Oh, darn it. Ronnie, can you scroll down maybe just a little bit? No, back. See if you can get that whole patch of numbers for me. Where you can see the general fund, the revenues and the expenditure. There you go. Now, if you scroll down a little bit, or not down, up. There you go. All right, so this is our general fund data sheet. It shows you about where we're at. You'll see some of those franchise fees that came in a little bit higher, as well as the fees that we had for the water and those sort of things. The water revenue got rolled into like the franchise piece, and then there was a portion, and we're going to try to get this corrected, but we talked with Mike Marr, who's our accountant before, and we just didn't want to mess it up because the auditors are going to, this is for the auditors. So what we'll have to do afterwards is readjust these lines and bring you revised financials in the month of July that will straighten out where these funds are. So you see those lines that are highlighted.
Yeah.
And those are going on. So down below the expenditures, you'll notice we did pretty good on expenditures last fiscal year. For the most part, we were well under what we were budgeting, which led to us having about $245,000 extra bottom line. So that's in our general fund. Ron, you want to take us to the next page? On our street fund, you'll notice that our revenues, again, we had an opening operating balance higher than what we had projected. We had taxes come in a little bit shy, but we had fees that kind of made up for it. Overall, our revenues were fairly close. They were up from what we were budgeted, which is good. And our expenditures were less than what we had budgeted. So again, another positive turn on the bottom line for that last fiscal year. And these all ended up turning into larger fund balances for this fiscal year. Okay.
Mike, excuse me. I know we had 131st, but didn't we have the King Richard project involved with that?
We did.
Wasn't that in this fiscal year?
Yeah, so King Richard Phase 1 was in this fiscal year, and you'll see it down there as under the capital improvements or the street fund there, the 125,674.
Okay.
That's associated with King Richard.
Okay. Speaking of King Richard, I just want to make a note, Mike. I've had two neighbors complained to me that they are running vehicles around at 7 a.m. and kind of racing up and down the street. This is the construction people on King Richard Part 2.
Okay, they should be done with the bulk of that construction now.
Okay, I'm just passing on.
I'll talk to their general.
Thanks.
All right. Next page is the local option fund. Not much really there. We did have that tax levy increase, but not much to report on that front. So Ronnie, can you scroll through to the, it'd be the Park Development Fund would be the next one. All right, so this captured the work that we put forth out on the field over the last fiscal year, raising and drainage and all the additionals that we put into the field to make it usable and improve the overall appearance and use of that park. So you'll see those on our bottom line under park improvements. I come in under what we were projecting, but we still aren't 100% done yet. So it might end up reaching that $150,000 mark by the time we're all said and done.
Okay.
All right, can we move on, Ronnie, to the Transportation Development Tax Fund? I don't think we had much happen last year because we did 131st, I think, in the year before. So the expense for 131st was actually expensed in the 2018-19 fiscal year, not the 19-20 fiscal year. So Gretchen, this is where 131st would have been captured.
Okay. All right.
And that's what that 1.3 million was budgeted. All right. Okay, that is the financials. Any other questions, concerns?
So with that being said, do we need a motion?
Yes.
I move approval of the, do we have a number related to that?
Yeah, June 2020 financials. There's no.
All right, just June 2020 financials.
Second.
Okay. We need a roll call.
All right. Let's see. I can see Councilor Boehner with a hand up, Councilor Shawna with a hand up, Councilor Fender with a hand up, Councilor Paulson with a hand up. Move to my screen. Councilor Chuli, are you in favor? Gotcha. All right. All right. Let me get back to the front. Mayor Gibson.
Aye.
All right. I think that's everybody.
Okay, so approved.
All right. As you may have seen on our police cars this month, there's a purple ribbon on the front to identify Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And this proclamation accompanies that. Like I can read it off and vote to approve it. Does that work?
Yes.
All right. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. All right.
Yep.
In the city of King City, Oregon, in recognition of the important work done by survivors of domestic violence programs and service providers, I urge all citizens to actively participate in the scheduled activities and programs sponsored by the Washington County District Attorney's Office, Washington County law enforcement agencies, and other community organizations to work toward the elimination of intimate partner violence. Whereas in just one day across the U.S. and its territories, nearly 75,000 victims of domestic violence sought services from domestic violence programs and shelters. That same day, more than 9,000 requests for services, including emergency shelter, housing, transportation, childcare, and legal representation, could not be provided because programs lack the resources to meet victims' needs. Whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole, here in this community, throughout the United States and world, and whereas racism, homophobia, transphobia, ageism, and discrimination based on physical ability, nationality, or other factors help to perpetuate domestic violence and make finding safety even more difficult for some victims. Whereas the need for safe housing continues to be rated as survivors' more urgent need, and whereas King City joins with others across Oregon and the nation in supporting victims of domestic violence, as well as local programs, state coalitions, national organizations, and other agencies nationwide who are committed to increasing public awareness of domestic violence and sending a clear message to abusers that domestic violence is not tolerated in King City. Whereas domestic violence impacts millions of people each year, but it can be prevented. Preventing domestic violence requires the collective voice and power of individuals, families, institutions, and systems, each whose number one thing adds a valuable and powerful component to transforming our communities. Now, therefore, Mayor, on behalf of
Kenneth Gibson, Mayor of City of King City, hereby proclaim October 2020 Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Good team effort.
All right. And our final item of the agenda today before just regular reports is to discuss and consider an RFP response for the King City Development Code update. This is in accordance with the technical assistance money that we received from the Department of Land Conservation and Development. It includes code amendments for House Bill 2001 and House Bill 2003. We put out an RFP for this project. We had one respondent, that was Works. Based on our timeline, I don't believe we have enough time to reject, go back out, and try to get some more participation. So it's the staff's recommendation that we move forward with the one respondent that we have and award the RFP to Works to help us get this stuff done in accordance with the grant and the grant timing, and try to get these code updates in and codified in order to satisfy the grant.
So I support, going ahead with Works. We've gotten a lot of good work out of them through the concept plan, and I think they will do an outstanding job for us. I don't see any reason not to continue down this path, but I would certainly like to hear from anybody who has a concern.
Okay, it's disappointing that we didn't get more responses because competition is always good, but I see no reason why we shouldn't move forward with them.
Agreed.
This is a relatively narrowly focused project, and it seems just fine, especially since they're familiar with our system.
Yeah,
agreed.
And also, they're basically a female-owned business, which is a good thing for us to engage with them. I like that idea. So I say it's a win-win.
Hear, hear, Mayor.
I wanted to make one comment. Given the concerns of both citizens and prospective citizens in our urban growth area, I think it might be useful, if possible, to get some sort of a fact sheet about this being directly related to legislation, and it's really sort of separated from the rest of the map planning process to avoid confusion, specifically at the CPO meeting next week.
Since you brought that up, I noticed on the agenda it said an update on the urban growth reserve. And but it didn't say who is supposed to be giving this update. I have not been invited. Mike has not been invited. Do you know?
I have not been invited.
Kathy kind of asked me to do it, so I want to be prepared.
Okay, so you are going to be doing the update.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
so if you can get me the right buzzwords to say, Mike. I mean, I pretty much understand this, but I want to make it very clear this is totally separate and apart from the rest of the project.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was concerned with some of the language that she had put on that agenda. It was basically accusing us of not being transparent with.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm trying to be proactive here.
I mean, I don't know what else we can do to be as transparent and open on everything that we're doing.
Okay.
But and to be honest with you, I just that forum there is.
I know.
Okay, and Gretchen.
Yeah.
Once again, the questions and the information, we need to keep driving all of these folks to the process.
Yes.
The process. It is not, I just don't want us to open up again where they're firing questions at you or any other council member regarding the concerns that they have, when in reality, those concerns will be addressed through the process, transportation system plan and master plan.
Well, that's why I want to say this is set and apart, being coming from the legislator. It's a state-driven change that we have to deal with it.
My concerns are we don't even know what the final product's going to look like. And they want answers and commitments today that we can't give them.
Yeah.
So it just puts us in a bit of a quagmire. Without having all the data present and without having the consultant's information available, it just puts us at risk of saying the wrong thing. It puts us in an awkward position. And so I don't want to find the city being put in an awkward position or have to go and explain to the residents of the area that, and it always happens. Like, oh, well, you told me on da-da-da date that you were going to do this. And the fact of the matter is we can't say that right now because we don't know what it's going to look like. And that's why we got to let the consultants do their work. We have to let the technical advisors do their work and the stakeholders do their work, and then build that baseline data, build all that information and bring it back and give us our best alternatives. And then at that point in time, this governing body needs to make that decision on what we do.
Okay, Michael, I am going to get asked when they're going to be done with the baseline stuff for the transportation plan, because I know that's what they're working on. Do we have a timeline on that?
I have a projected timeline. You know, the best information I could tell you right now is point you to the TSP website.
Okay.
And the consultants with DKS on that. They've just now got started with the master planning process, just putting the team together. We're just got through contracting. We haven't done any public outreach for the master planning stuff yet. So, you know, that's a 12 to 18 month process. The TSP is also another 12 to 8. I think in the TSP, we have at least another 10 to 12 months left.
Mm-hmm.
And in the master plan, we probably have another 12 to 18 months.
And I think
what I would prefer for the CPO 4K conversation to be, get involved in the planning process for transportation system plan and master planning, rather than standing up trying to answer questions. Be involved in the process. And that's the only thing that the CPO 4K represents, is to say, if you have questions on how to get involved with the transportation system planning and the master planning, this is where you go. This is where you go to get information. It shouldn't be any conversation beyond that as to what's going on with that. The update is that the planning process has started. And this is where you go to get more information. And honestly, Gretchen, I would think it needs to be that simple.
Okay. Well, Mike, I'll talk to you offline about the 2001 stuff.
Do we have a motion on the floor?
No.
Oh, we don't have a motion yet, but we were talking about the Earthworks.
Yeah, we do need a motion for that. But yeah, we kind of got off track, but we do need to go back and do a motion for the RFP to accept. Okay, 7.5. We need a motion.
I move approval of the RFP from Earthworks.
Second.
Okay, let's do a roll call.
All right. Councilor Ocholi. I can't, hang on. Ronnie, can you stop share screen? Councilor Ocholi?
Yes.
All right, gotcha. Councilor Paulson, I've got your hand. Councilor Thompson? Yes. Okay, Councilor Boehner, I got your hand. Councilor Fender, I've got your hand up. And Mayor Gibson?
Yes.
All right. Unanimous. All right. Then we will reach out to Earthworks this week and congratulate them on their RFP and get this process underway.
Okay. All right. So with that being said, we need to move along here. We'll go to Ernie. Ernie, do you have anything to report? Ernie?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So obviously you heard we lost Officer Burdett, so we're down. And as Mike mentioned, we're in the process of hiring a sergeant. I'll have more information at the next meeting. Hopefully everything will be completed and I can announce and introduce who the next sergeant's going to be. And thanks for the proclamation on the DV month. And one of the good things, I don't think it was mentioned in there, is the good work that the Family Justice Center does. Mm-hmm. So I appreciate that. And we'll have more information next month.
Okay. Thank you, Ernie. Mike.
So we have been putting in the backstop down at the park. You may have seen a little bit of a construction mess out there this last week. We are pouring concrete tomorrow morning. So we'll be down there pouring the footings for the backstop. And at that point in time, we'll probably have to let it sit up for about a week. And then we will try to stretch the fabric. And then I think sometime next week, we'll try to put the hood on. We had representatives from Flash Baseball and Blast Fast Pitch down there today, lifting that backstop and putting it into place, as well as Officer Sigler was there, myself, and we even had Ronnie come down after the work was already done. And, but that, we have the ODOT grant that we're going to try to put in for the trails. You'll notice that Dave put a root barrier in along the east side of the trail there in the park. That's not really going to stop. It's not going to fix anything right now, but it does allow us to eventually get to a point where we can come in and fix that trail and the roots won't continue to be a problem, hopefully. So I'm about ready to get invaded here as my walking in, but I'm going to go ahead and go on mute, and that's my report for now. We are entertaining some expansion of staff in the wake of Brian's exit, but we're going to figure that out as we get there.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mike. And happy birthday to your daughter.
Yeah, she's right here.
Oh, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor's birthday, too. You're going to wish him happy birthday?
Happy birthday.
And
oh, Mayor, it's your birthday today?
Yes, we shared the same birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Mayor.
Well, thank you, guys. It feels good to be as old as I am and still upright. Okay, so let's go around the horn and see who else has something to report out. Shauna, why don't you go first?
Sure. I attended the League of Oregon Cities annual virtual convention last week, which was cool. Would have been probably more fun in person, but it was good. There were some great speakers, a lot of speakers talking about racism and diversity, and that was kind of the theme or the hot topic, I think, that was discussed the most. But also sat in on some meetings. There was like a women's caucus type meeting for female leaders, which was awesome, and got to engage a little bit with the president of the Portland City Council on that one, so that was interesting. What else? Oh, so I was invited to attend a meeting with Mike a couple weeks ago. There's a cool thing happening with some of the CARES Act money that we get to take part in, and basically what it is, I guess I would describe it as kind of increasing morale or psyche in the public in regards to everything that's going on with the pandemic. So there's some money that's been allocated to Washington County, and we're in District 3. So there's 5 cities. It's King City, Tigard, Tualatin, Sherwood, and Durham, and we're all sharing this CARES Act money to do a few projects, one of which would be a public art project in King City. And kind of the idea behind it, my understanding is that somehow we come up with a project idea where the public actually will take part in creating the art. So Mike and I are kind of talking about different ideas for that, whether it be a mural or something like that. We'll keep you posted on that. And I think that's all I have.
And along those lines, we did the CARES funding for our local businesses. We think we probably had maybe close to 9 businesses that were able to take advantage of that funding. And so it was anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, and there was still money left over after those were approved. And you guys all know that money goes away at the end of December. So we hope that all of the folks were able to take advantage of at least $3,000 to $5,000 helps a little bit.
And they're going to reboot that. So I heard they're going to reopen it and do a 3rd phase on that. And then, in that community psyche fund, Shauna brought up a good point, and maybe we could do these mural benches and things of that nature as well. If we can't find a surface to do like a mural, we can think outside the box and come up with some other opportunities. So
that sounds like a fun project. Okay, sounds good. Shauna, do you have anything else?
That's all for me. Thanks.
Okay, let's drop down, go to Jamie.
I don't have too much to report, just a lot of outreach from various groups. The King City Council race is hot on lots of people's minds. So I've had lots of phone interviews and discussions, met with Mark Farr, and I think that is pretty much the update. I think everyone may know at this point, but the King City Community Foundation was not awarded the Harper Award, but I have it on good authority that we came in a strong top tier candidate. So I will probably, I'm going to try to attend the award ceremony and support the other winner. But I certainly think that the visibility of our application, or our nomination rather, for some of the other people who are involved in that besides our CPO, was good for King City. So anyway, I'll try to attend that award ceremony.
And congratulations on being considered. You guys,
that's right. It was
that consideration and being in top tier. So congratulations.
It was a big honor. I guess I should, I know Viva's on here, but Viva is doing a great job continuing with the networking, the monthly Zoom business networking group, and we're going to reschedule the 27th. Viva, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe we have selected a new date, but I did see today that Viva sent around an email because I know that Mayor, you can't attend on the 27th, and so that's going to get rescheduled. And it would be nice to continue to grow that. And then we are working on a shred. Viva's working hard on the shred event, and I did reach out to the high school student who presented last month. So I'm going to update you guys at the next meeting about that.
Okay.
And then there we are. That's all I have.
Okay. And I want to reiterate what you just said. Viva's done an outstanding job of putting that together, and it's much appreciated. And it is working. So keep up the good work, Viva. Thank you. So, Smart. Thank you.
Yes, I don't have much to add today. Ronnie, thanks for forwarding that meeting invite. I tried to reach out about the water meeting, and no one kind of responded back to know when the meeting was taking place. Now that I have that, I can contact them and start attending those meetings as they come up. But at the time I got the meeting invite forwarded, I had a conflict, so I wasn't able to attend. So maybe next time I'll be able to report on that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. And also, we didn't say it, but it looks like all of the candidates, you guys are going to be involved in the CPO4K meeting to give a little introduction of yourself. So I wish you the best on that, okay? And you guys ought to know, I don't know how many of you got a chance to see the candidates forum that Tualatin Valley Cable TV did. That turned out really well too. All of the candidates did an outstanding job on that program. So congratulations to you guys. You guys have done an outstanding job and really good write-ups in the voters pamphlet. So good job, and we're rooting for all of you, even though we only have 3 spots. So keep up the good work. Okay, thank you, Smart.
Thank you.
Councilor Choli, Smart. I was hoping that maybe you could pay particular attention with the Tigered Water group, because I believe they're doing some preliminary planning and engineering for the expansion area over there. So I saw something come across my email. I thought I forwarded it to you, but it was talking about how Tigered Water was looking at the reservoir, and they were going to do like a rate study for what it was going to cost for SDCs in our area. I just want to make sure that they're not putting the entire cost of that reservoir on just our citizens, because it should also include everyone in that River Terrace area be responsible for that additional supplemental fee, or I just don't want them to price us out of being able to provide affordable housing on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Okay, I'll take a look too, Mike, because as on the alternate. Yeah.
Okay. All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay. Micah, thank you, Smart.
This month's PAB meeting was canceled, so I actually have nothing to report at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Micah. Gretchen.
Okay, I have quite a bit to report. MPAC is pretty worked up about the issues with the 2001, and also they're worried about the transportation plan measure. We'll have to wait. I have an announcement in case you hadn't heard. McCann's closed on the 14th permanently, and if any of you have your prescriptions there, they've been transferred over to the Safeway across the street.
Now,
It's a very sad day to lose.
Gretchen, what happened? Because I thought originally.
Okay.
I actually have the explanation.
They are moving.
Yeah, but the pharmacy is not.
The pharmacy is not, and
they
the
closed
gift shop
the
is
pharmacy.
not. Only the medical supply is moving to the Columbia Bank building because they own that bank.
Right.
I mean, they own that building.
They own a building.
Yeah,
very sad.
But it's very sad. Not only have we lost the post office, we've lost the pharmacy, and we've lost the gift store,
right?
Which all of us were very involved in, and the business had been there since the early 70s. So it's a big loss to the community.
I was surprised to hear it because when I had the initial conversation with them, they were just planning on not having the post office, that the pharmacy was in fact going to still be business.
In the letter that I received, he was in the middle of negotiating the changes that had to happen to the building, the Columbia Bank building. And when he saw the impact of the new business taxes that have been started, and the fact that there's been massive changes in the reimbursement to pharmacies for prescriptions, the numbers just didn't work anymore.
Okay.
So it's very sad.
Unfortunately. Okay. Go ahead.
Moving right along, I have been appointed to be a member of CCI. That's the Central Committee for all the CPOs. And I also am on their code subcommittee. First of all, the general meetings, September, it was trying to put together a work plan for the next year. This last month, which was just the other night, we had a presentation by the county chair. She talked about the two charter amendments that are on the ballot. For those of you who have not voted, one would create an independent commission for
salaries
and
for the commissioners.
Yes, for the commissioners. And the other, now I'm having a senior moment. It's just the other night. Anyway, she gave a presentation for about 20 minutes and answered questions that people had about what the long-range impact would be, and were there reasons not to do this, and she couldn't come up with any negative impacts for residents of the county. We also had a presentation from the new Chief Administrative Officer for the county, and we were able to ask questions about what her philosophy is relating to planning and all of the related issues. Number one, was she in favor of the charter amendment that would get rid of the limitation on when land use matters could be heard by the commissioners? And I raised the issue about the sufficiency of planners for both current planning and long-term planning within the urban growth boundary. There's been a policy over the last 15 years or so to reduce the staffing of those departments because, of course, all those areas would be going into the cities, and therefore they wouldn't need planners for that. And she said she would review that. Also, she would be reviewing how communication is going out, both input and output to the CPOs and local cities. Okay. So that was very helpful. I really enjoyed that meeting. Unfortunately, it didn't get recorded for other people to review. But if you're interested in attending the CCI meetings, you can contact Kathy Stahlkamp is the current CCI chair. I have also, by the way, I am on the steering committee for this CPO. And I also want to report what we were doing in terms of the subcommittee that I'm on. It's looking at a whole variety of code issues. One that has been reiterated over and over again is how easy it is for citizens and CPOs, and for that matter, cities, to get information out of the planning departments, and how to get input put in a timely manner, because so often the information is not getting into the planning department in a timely manner before the city commissioners are hearing the matter, partly because the information hasn't gone out from the planning department for which the citizens to be able to respond. And there was quite a discussion about that the other night. And she promised that she would look into the various issues that were raised both by other members and myself in terms of making it easier to negotiate the website. For one thing, it needs a total redo. It's really bad. And how she can help facilitate getting communication going back and forth so that citizens have a more realistic opportunity to participate in the process. Let's see, is there something else that I need to talk? I guess that is the big news, and we want to get off to our other duties for this evening. So I'll shut up.
No, thank you so much. That was good. And okay, so I will just close things down. I agree with Shauna that the LOC conference was good. A lot of good activity, a lot of good conversation. I was glad to participate as a speaker and as an attendee. So it worked out very well. And I think there were a lot of great messages that got across in that entire process. So it's a working process. We all understand that. There are a lot of changes that need to be made to make things move forward in terms of racial equity and diversity and all of those things. And that's what this conference was really focusing on. So we'll see. It's not going to be an overnight change, but certainly the LOC is really bound and determined to try to figure out how they can do more to help in training and moving programs forward so that people feel that they have a voice in trying to make the necessary changes in their organizations in terms of equity, diversity, and inclusion. So we'll see how that goes. So it was a good conference. And I don't know if this is Ronnie. This past week, we were trying to get group emails out to everybody, but there are a couple of you who still do not have your King City email functioning. Gretchen, you're one.
Yeah.
And I think there was an issue with Smarts. Yours, Micah, isn't working either. So
it's not working either.
Okay, now the group emailing to me is going to be very important as we move forward, trying to make sure that there's a group communication on a variety of things. So what do we need to do in order to get everybody functioning on the group King City email? What has to happen?
Okay, so first off, so Gretchen and Smart, so our system has a capacity level. If you do not delete anything and you just save it in there, it will jam up your system and it will start rejecting emails. So go ahead and delete it out of your phone or your computer and stuff like that. On our end, it's already archived, it's saved, it's there for public records if we need it.
So is the issue that their mailboxes are just full and
yes,
that's causing them not to function?
For those two, yes, because the system will send me a code saying Meller's information is full.
I can't even get into my King City email, so I don't know how it could be full.
Well, you've been getting emails, but you can't get into it to be able to.
So Gretchen, we're just going to have to show you how to log in on that. And then, so Micah, wasn't there a problem with the spelling of your name?
Yeah, there was a spelling issue, and then once it was corrected, when I tried to get in there, the password that was given to me didn't work, and I sent a note back. I'm forgetting the name of the person that you had referred me to at the time, but I never heard back. So
okay, let me go ahead and email that, and I'll also CC Chief and Brian. They kind of oversee those issues.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can just send me a new link to and password to log in, then I'd be happy to get it set up.
Right. We don't need to resolve it tonight, but we do need to get it resolved. And
the other thing that we're doing too is we're going to go ahead and set up emails for the Planning Commission. So that will be here, I'm hoping within the week.
Yeah, and I really feel strongly that people should not be getting emails related to King City business to their personal accounts. We need to fix this so that everything is going through that's related to city business is in fact being used through the King City email system. Okay, we need to get this. All right.
And Ronnie, can we reiterate, because I also suffer from having too many emails in my inbox. Part of it is I'm comfortable deleting spam and things like that. But so are we archiving, if someone sends me an email, is the city archiving emails that are in there in some way? Or
yes,
if
all email that is sent to your inbox.
Okay.
So it goes to our server, and then it gets just magically go somewhere else.
Okay. So I can safely delete anything in my inbox, but a copy is somewhere in the sphere of,
it's in the King City server. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's all I needed. So essentially I can have it go to 0 after I should delete everything out and just be done with it. Okay.
What I've been doing is just keeping a month, within the month.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when I get down toward the end of the month, if you start getting into 2 months worth of stuff, it really is going to lock you down. So
yeah, no, I have emails from the very beginning because I've been scared to delete them. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it now. Yes, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
That sounds good. Now, final question, and then we're going to get out of here. And I don't know who's going to answer this question, but I think somewhere in the past we said that there were going to be some iPads coming for this team. Where are the iPads? What? Right. Look, I can get an iPad tomorrow if I need one. And I've been told too many times that there's a backlog coming from where? It is starting to not make sense to me that this has been going on for almost a year. And why can't we get these iPads? I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's been a year now, and it's really frustrating. I know COVID hit and everything else, but initially we were trying to get the iPad Pros.
Yeah.
And we were trying to get iPad Pros with, I think it was like the mid-range memory. It wasn't like the far-end memory. It wasn't the low-end memory. It's just mid-range.
Right.
And we were trying to go through their...
Who's that?
Well, we were using Jeremy and his group. And they had put in an order at the manufacturers there, Apple, out of downtown Apple store. And he just kept coming back saying that we're on wait list, we're on a wait list, we're on a wait list. Finally, I think it was like last month, I said, look, Jeremy, either go chat with them, tell them to move us up on the list, or just go get us your standard, 8 by standard friggin' iPad, give us an iPad that we can function and get access to our emails. So he is supposed to call me back next Thursday and tell me what the final solution is. But yeah, this is just like the if you'll remember the what was it, the MDCs that the officers use, MDUs.
Right.
Yeah.
Using it took us almost like a year to get those as well. It's just ridiculous. It shouldn't take us long to get this kind of stuff.
Well, I know that they must be available, and I guarantee you that if I wanted one, I already have one. But if I wanted one, I could get one tomorrow, more than likely.
Yeah, just go down the Apple and grab it.
So let's get this thing done. Either Jeremy is not capable of delivering on this, because I know we've already paid for him, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if you could give us a refund because we're like, dude.
Give us the money back.
Yeah.
We go to Amazon and get them.
Yep.
Okay. So I think I'm kind of done with this one. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. So team, everybody is healthy. Everybody is doing good. And I am so appreciative of that. We hope that there's going to be a very safe and well thought out Halloween where people are going to do the right thing to keep their children and the residents of King City safe. I hope that's what's going to occur. So,
Mayor.
Yes.
Just to interject, have you heard, has the plans of Deer Creek, have you been told about those?
No.
So Deer Creek this year is really encouraging. They have created, the PSO has created a Halloween trail, a driving trail that students of the school can drive or walk with their parents to see decorated houses. And they are kind of pushing that in lieu of, right, they aren't holding any trick-or-treating or any kind of Halloween or harvest event. And then they've really asked, they kind of opened it up to the community and asked King City residents to sign up and register their house and to be put on that trail. So there is a big push, I think, from the Deer Creek community to have a safe Halloween and to try to just do, right, not trick-or-treating, but rather just safe at-home, festivities.
Right. And we did get a guideline posted on the website, right? On our website that says, these are the things that you need to consider for Halloween.
Yeah.
So let's just hope for that. And I'm going to let everybody go. Mike, go celebrate with your daughter. I'm going to go have a glass of champagne and
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
72. Thank you so much.
And
happy
birthday.
Yes.
I need to talk to you tomorrow if you're available.
Tomorrow's going to be tough. I have several Zoom calls tomorrow, but we'll get together.
Would Friday be better?
I will check. I'll give you a call.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, team. You guys
have a good evening, everyone. Have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
You guys